I'm Bob Hoffman with Epiphany Now. Epiphany Now is on a mission to create a revolution of positive, transformational experiences through acts of kindness. We're hosting a series of live interviews with leaders who are doing just that. Today, I am joined by my good friend Mark Sutton, who is the Public Relations Director of the American Legion Department of Michigan. Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Bob. It's good to see you again.
Yeah. So, Mark, tell us what the American Legion Department of Michigan is.
So, the American Legion Department of Michigan, it's the state version of the American Legion, which is a national or worldwide organization that was founded in 1919, and it split. The American Legion split themselves up into departments, and there are 55 departments. So, all 50 states plus Puerto Rico, Department of Mexico, Department of the Philippines, Department of France, and the
Wow.
Department of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So we call them departments and not states because we have those countries and those areas around the world. The American Legion Department of Michigan was founded in May of 1919. We are one of the original departments that came up right on board as soon as the American Legion was founded. And we just celebrated our 100th anniversary just last year, and we're going strong. And so we're based on four pillars. Our mission is based on four pillars, which is Americanism, children and youth, national security, and veterans affairs and rehabilitation. So anything American, patriotism type of thing. National security, we're very legislatively active here at the state level and at the national level, so that we fight for veteran benefits, and national defense, because national defense is a part of our creed. And children and youth, we have programs to help children and youth. We have a reading program. We have a children welfare foundation. Back when we first started in 1919, we actually did have orphanages, child
Wow.
orphanages, up until about the 70s. I think we closed ours about the early 80s, late 70s. We had children orphanages. And then we have Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, where we do several things. We help veterans get the benefits that they have earned from the VA.
Yeah. So, you are a veteran service organization and you're helping veterans. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is because you are able to help veterans right now, especially in the areas of maybe Midland, Michigan, right now, where it is devastating floods taking place. You have some programs available. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So there's two programs that our national organization has, and one is called the National Emergency Fund, and the other one is called the Temporary Financial Assistance. So the National Emergency Fund is for veterans and American Legion members and American Legion posts that are damaged or ruined because of a natural disaster. And that
Okay.
natural disaster is recognized by the federal government, which Governor Gretchen Whitmer requested from President Trump yesterday, and this morning or late last night, President Trump declared that area a natural disaster. So our National Emergency Fund is now open to those veterans and Legionnaires and active duty military who are in those areas that these funds are to help, get food or shelter, help cover the cost for food and shelter at this point. That's that they need right now. And the temporary financial assistance, if they're in need of more assistance and they have children in the home, then they qualify for applying for that. And they can do so at legion.org/emergency to learn more.
That's great. And I'll actually put that website up there for you, Mark, too. So it's legion.org /emergency, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so those fundings will help with food, with shelter.
Yeah. So these veterans may be being displaced because of the water level. So now they're sitting in a hotel and they may get a bill. These funds can help with those types of things. They're not really meant to rebuild.
Mhm.
For a post home, it might be. I believe we have 2 or 3 home posts that are in those areas that they might be able to get those funds. But for the individual and the family, it's meant to help cover food and shelter costs, because of this emergency.
That is good news, especially for so many veterans that are in that area. Mark, I want to ask you real quick. You've talked briefly about programs for young people. I know that you have a program that I think is just very cool, and it's really teaching young kids the importance of government. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So, unfortunately for 2020, we had to cancel those summer programs. They usually happen in June, but they're called Boys State and Girls State. And Boys State is held at Grand Valley University in Allendale, and Girls State is held at Michigan State University in East Lansing. And those programs, they bring roughly about 300 boys together and 300 girls together, and they literally create a state. The 51st, we call it the 51st state of the union. And from the governor on down to, at our Boys State program, we have 8 different counties with cities in them. So we need mayors, we need county commissioners, we need lawyers, we need sheriff, we need judges, we have a Supreme Court. So the kids actually run for these offices. And then our education staff gives them criteria that they've got to come up with solutions. So they'll say, "Hey, you have an infrastructure problem, and so here are here are your revenues. This is how much it's going to cost. Come up with an idea." The governor usually gets, we have a balanced budget.
This is real life situation. Everything
Yeah,
that happens in real life for kids. I love it. You do that every summer, and we can, of course, go to your website to find more information. Mark, I always end the interviews by asking the same question for people, and that is, can you tell me something good?
sure. Let me tell you some good things that the American Legion has done for our veterans, and I'm going to bring up 1 or 2 examples. When I talk to veterans or their family members, I always tell them, don't face the VA alone. And what I mean by that is that the VA is a great place where veterans get care when they get into the system. Sometimes getting into that system can be very difficult because there's a lot of red tape. It's government, there's a bureaucracy. However, we have accredited veteran service officers that will help guide them, take their hand, and move them through the system. I had a widow of a Vietnam veteran who came in after 3 years looking online, and she came in and she said, the only thing he qualifies for is this. And she said a bad word, this headstone. I can't find
Mm,
anything else. And I
mm.
told the lady, I said, ma'am, please go home, grab his stuff, his records and stuff that you have, and bring him back and see one of our officers. Because of his disability that the VA had not finished with before he died, she is now getting $1,200 a month in
Wow.
dependent and care benefits because she came to us and we knew the answer. Um,
Wow.
I have a veteran who has 5 kids, had a really rough time in the military 20 years ago, and finally applied using one of our veteran service officers. And they are now receiving, they're at 70%, getting a good disability check based on the issues that, uh, the physical issues that were caused 20 years ago, and now has the ability to, they have a job, but now they have this disability and they're getting all the VA care. We're taking care of our veterans. The VA is a great place to get care when you get in. And we know it's frustrating, but we have plenty of examples of how we've helped veterans who've been frustrated find the way in if their situation deems that.
Well, I absolutely appreciate everything that you do, Mark, and of course, the VA. So thank you very much, and happy Memorial Day to you.
Well, Bob. So let if we may take a moment for that.
Yeah.
For a veteran, there's nothing really happy about Memorial Day. For a veteran, let's remember that Memorial Day is those that have given the ultimate sacrifice, and Veterans
Yeah.
is for our veterans. And I just want to say, for the families that are left, thank you for giving us the ability to honor the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform, and we feel your loss. And yep, we're gonna have a great weekend, probably some good weather, grilling out and stuff like that. But I hope everybody just takes a moment, looks at that flag, remembers what it stands for. It does come with a price. And on Monday, let's remember what that price is and say a little prayer for those who are left behind.
I am so glad you said that. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate you and
Thanks,
all the
Bob.
veterans.
Have a great weekend.
And if you'd like more good news, join the Epiphany Now Facebook group. Follow our website, epiphanynow.org. We have on there YPIF winners, Youth Passing It Forward. They're nominees. You can vote for your favorite, and we'll announce the winner later this summer. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.